Namaste, welcome to Arthneeti, where we discuss money and money related tools to help you in your everyday investing decisions. I am Dr. Shefalika Gokhale. I hold a PhD in business practices of mutual fund houses. These videos are part of the investor awareness initiative of Samyak FinServe. Now, like every Fridays, this Friday as well, we will discuss important news that happened during the week, which would have an impact on our investing decisions for weeks to come. The most important news item of this week was the 4th of June, the election result day. All of us were eagerly waiting for that day for quite some time now, following a long and rigorous election that our country went through. On Friday, if you were to go by the exit polls, BJP, the current ruling party, was going to have a smooth sailing in its third term. All the exit polls, barring a few, had predicted that BJP would come back with a thumping majority and would surpass its previous tally. What actually transpired on 4th of June was quite different. In contrast to what majority of the exit polls had predicted, BJP did not reach the halfway mark of 272 seats. It was restricted to 240 seats, much lower than the expectations that were built before the election results. Congress, which came out to be the second largest party in these elections, won 99 seats. Right now, news channels have been flooded with pre poll and post poll analysis. The reality today is BJP is still going to form the government for the third time, and we are going to see Prime Minister Modi for one more term. So, is his third term going to be different or in line with his first two terms? Well, in the first two terms, BJP as a single party had crossed the majority mark of 272 seats. Ideally, it did not need the help of any of its alliance partners to remain in the government. But in the first two terms, also, it was the NDA governments which ruled the country and not BJP as a single party. But this time, things are a little different. BJP will need the support of its alliance partners to remain in the government. Right, by itself, it will not having majority, it will not be able to form the government. Correct. So this time it will be a matter of coalition, a matter of cooperation between the different NDA partners. Is it the first time that India is going to have a coalition government? The answer is an emphatic no. There have been many instances in history where coalition governments have run the country for 5 complete years. The first coalition government in India was headed by Prime Minister Morarji Desai. It ran from 1977 to 1979. 1991, a watershed moment in our history, a turning point which changed the economic trajectory of India, where important decision of opening the doors for private companies from around the world to come and set shop in the country was made, was also a coalition government headed by PV Narasimha Rao. During the 1991 coalition government, various reforms such as reducing trade barriers, liberalization for foreign investments in the country, and deregulation of industries was introduced. But that government, the coalition dynamics, often led to compromises and slower decision making during PV Narasimha Rao period. The period starting from 1998 till 2004 saw BJP's Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji heading a coalition government. This period saw robust infrastructural growth. The government put in place various projects like the Delhi Metro project, brought in a new telecom policy which brought revolution in the telecom sector, introduced various projects like the Golden Quadrilateral project, joining the rivers within the country, and many more such projects. The focus of Vajpayee ji was to develop the northeastern states, the seven sisters as we know them, which till date had received a stepchild like treatment. All previous governments had failed to turn their attention to the development and join these states with mainland India. So Vajpayee's focus was on the development of that part of India which was away from the eyes of the general public till that time. During Vajpayee's regime, India saw GDP growth inching towards double digits, and inflation was also in check during his era. From 2004 till 2014, Dr. Manmohan Singh headed a coalition government as well. During UPA 1, his first term, Dr. Manmohan Singh, an economist, an ex RBI governor, finance minister who was instrumental in the liberalization decisions of 1991, during his first term in the government, various schemes like the Manarega, RTI were introduced. In his second term, the UPA 2 era, the economist prime minister delivered a healthy, robust 8.5% GDP growth. But both his terms in the government were marred by huge financial scandals. In 9 years, there were nine scams: 2G scam, coal block scam, Tetra truck scam, CWG, the Commonwealth Games held in Pune scam. Yeah, there were various scams during this period. All this led to policy paralysis and people losing faith in the Manmohan government. 2014 saw the advent of Prime Minister Modi. For 10 years since 2014, BJP, the party which Prime Minister Modi belongs to, had a clear majority in the parliament. They had crossed the 272 seat mark, but still they were in a majority, and it was the NDA government which was at the helm of affairs in the country for the previous 10 years. Let us discuss the various economic and financial policies implemented during the Modi 1 and Modi 2 era. The first important decision that was taken was of demonetization in 2016. It was aimed at tackling the black money menace and the corresponding terrorism threats which the country faced and which had become commonplace during the Manmohan rule from 2004 till 2014. Though demonetization faced mixed reactions from the public, the aim was to promote digital payments. 2016 also saw the implementation of IBC, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. It was aimed to improve the resolution process of stressed assets of nationalized banks, also to enhance ease of doing business. Now, in the mid 2000s, nationalized banks faced heavy losses due to mounting NPAs. Now, the government introduced a 4R scheme recognizing NPA transparency, resolution, recovery, recapitalization, and reforms of the nationalized banks. These policies that the government implemented resulted in an enormous turnaround in the banking sector, and the banking sector recorded its all time high profits in the last financial year. UPI, a unified payment interface, was also introduced in 2016. It aimed to streamline the payment of subsidies and welfares to the common citizens. Reducing leakages in direct benefit transfers was the main motive. Now, previous to that, in 1980s, Rajiv Gandhi, the then prime minister, had said that when the government intended to transfer 1 rupee to for welfare schemes and poverty alleviation, only a fraction, 15 paise, reached the intended beneficiary. Now, this loophole was plugged by the introduction of direct benefit transfers through UPI, where 100% of the money released reached the intended beneficiary. This scheme has been a huge success. Since its launch in 2016, nearly 8.2 lakh crore rupees have been deposited in the accounts of 900 million people in the country. In 2017, GST, the goods and services tax, was implemented. It replaced excise duty, service tax, and VAT. Now, till the time GST was implemented, excise duty and service tax were uniform, but VAT was differing from state to state. What happened after the implementation of GST was that it brought uniformity not only in paying the taxes but also collecting the taxes as well as filing the tax returns. Corporate tax rates were also lowered to stimulate investment and growth. Even though many economic policies of the previous two Modi governments were aimed at improving the financial health of the country and betterment of the citizens, the Indian middle class is often of the opinion that it has got a hard bargain when it comes to taxation policies of the government. Being religious taxpayers, they often feel the pinch when it comes to policies directed towards them. In an event held in Bombay Stock Exchange in Mumbai recently, a stockbroker had questioned Nirmala Sitaraman on the various layers of taxation that the middle class has to face. Unfortunately, the finance minister was not able to give a convincing reply. This is the plight of the middle class in the country. It will be good if Modi 3 focuses attention on alleviating the concerns of the Indian middle class by bringing in some amendments. The amendments could be increasing the income tax exemption limit, which will provide relief to salaried class of people who mostly fall in the middle class category and increase their disposable incomes, simplifying the tax filing process so that more and more people come into the tax net. The tax base is increased, and it encourages compliance and reduces burden on a certain few percentage of the population which are actually taxpayers. Introducing middle class friendly saving schemes is also one of the policies that Modi 3 can look into so that it incentivizes savings and investments in the middle class, enhancing their financial security. So, what do we expect in the Modi 3 era? Will there be continuity in the policies that the Modi 2 government had intended to implement in their next term? Remember, this is a coalition government and proposed policies might face challenges. With regards to privatization plans, Modi government had ambitious plans to divest its stake in the public sector undertakings. But these plans might slow down given the differing priorities of its alliance partners. It had also intended to bring in labor reforms, but that can face delays and modifications affecting ease of doing business. Agricultural reforms, which were attempted in the previous term, faced severe backlash. In coalition dynamics, it can face more complexities in its implementation. Taxation policies, with regards to taxation policies, continuation of rationalizing the tax structure, especially those affecting middle class, could be delayed and adjusted to appease coalition parties. So there could be slowdown of the policy reforms that were intended by the Modi government to be undertaken in its third term. Lastly, coming to the most important faction of this commentary, what should investors do going forward? Do they need a course correction in their investing journey? Well, here are some tips that can help you in your investment decisions. Diversification is the key. Never shift your focus away from diversification. With diversification, your investments are open to various sectors and asset classes, which help to mitigate risk associated with policy changes. So, diversification not only domestically but across geographies is what will help you going forward. Focus should be on stable sectors like FMCG, IT, which tend to be more resilient to policy fluctuations. Keep an eye on policy announcements. Stay informed about the government policy changes, especially those affecting key sectors like banking, infrastructure, energy, and so on. Always have a long term perspective. Though short term volatility may question your investing decisions, long term perspective about the Indian economy will help you take the right decisions. uh, or your bellwether friend, always consult a financial advisor who will help you adapt right investment strategies to which are in line with your needs and according to what is happening around us. So, consulting a financial advisor is always advised. Lastly, I want to make an important point. Like you all, I was also following the post election result analysis on various news channels. Many analysts were of the opinion that the younger generation who were not voters prior to 2014 and were way too small to understand what was happening in the country at that time had anti incumbency sentiments. Thanks to clickbait YouTubers and social media storms, the younger generation were made to believe that the previous government was more religious focus than the focus being on development of the country and its citizens. But to all these people, I want to tell you a famous quote of Winston Churchill. People who forget and not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. I'm not saying vote for a particular party or a particular person. What I'm saying is you should focus your attention and be informed about what is actually happening in the country, how the country is being uplifted, why there are no scams in the previous 10 years, what the government has done in relation to uplifting the government. In this election, also, if you are following news, you will understand that guarantee cards were distributed by an opposition party to women across the country, saying that come June, 8,500 rupees will start getting deposited in their bank accounts, the guarantee that they had given in their election manifesto. Now, after the election results, these women are gathering in front of the party offices demanding that 8,500 rupees that were promised to them. Do you think this money will get credited in their bank accounts? Well, you should be aware of such things and try to think in a rationalized way of what this country needs so that it goes on its development path, which it has been in the last 10 years. I hope I have added value in your investing journey through this video of mine and created certain awareness, certain level of awareness, which is very, very important while taking decisions. Right. So, if you have liked my video, please share, subscribe, and like my channel and help it to grow. Until next time, stay safe. Goodbye.